T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hey, 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 welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet, and welcome to our NXT 2.0 and NXT UK After Show. You see how that rhymes there? Of course, per usual, we're here to give you the lowdown on what went on the NXT brand on both branches. Per usual, my name is Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, commentator for the Belladonna division, and of course, co-host of Women's Wrestling Talk. And I'm not alone, per usual, never alone. I am here with awesome backstage interviewer, super mom, dog mom, all of the things. This is the host of In Cat We Trust, Miss Katrina Blake. How are you, Cat?
Hey, I'm okay. I can't complain. I'm a little tired, but we grinding. Okay, so all good.
Yeah, I think that's just the general mood for today. It's like we're tired, but we're grinding and we're trying our best to push through and press on as much as we can. And I hope you guys who are watching are doing the same thing and having a good time and still living a good life and keeping yourself healthy, in the midst of all the stuff going on and all of the above. I hope you're doing your best. And of course, watching wrestling, because that's why we're here to talk about women's wrestling, all the wrestlings and all the things, because it all matters to us, right? So if you're in the comments and if you watched NXT 2.0 or NXT UK, or if you have any questions, go in the comments, ask the questions, fire away, say hi, pop in, all the things in the comments, and you might wind up on the screen. So of course, we're going to talk about NXT 2.0 first, because that takes place on Tuesdays at 8/7 Central on USA. And basically, NXT 2.0 is gearing up. It's kind of like what you would think of as, I guess you would say, the go home before Heat Wave, which takes place next Tuesday, because time is moving really fast and Jesus Christ, wow. So basically, this show was really good, and they were sort of popping off and gearing up for NXT Heat Wave, which is the first of its kind, and getting ready for all the championship matches, the rivalries, and all of the above. So, Kat, how did you feel about NXT 2.0 this week as a whole?
I thought overall it was pretty solid. I did feel maybe like the week previously felt like they had more action. I guess that week than it did this week, but I thought it was a pretty solid episode for what we got, and I am looking forward to what we're going to get at Heat Wave. I feel like it's going to be there's going to be some really solid matches, so I'm excited for it. I'm actually excited to see if we're going to have some belts change hands, or some face turns, some heel turns, anything can happen in pay-per-view style type of thing, and so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm always excited for NXT's specials and stuff. So, in the midst of everything that we have going on and they have going on, we're about to get into it. So, NXT this week was bookended by women's action. And I love that. I love it a lot. So the first match on the card for Tuesday was Nikita Lyons versus Kiana James. Now, of course, Kiana James started this beef a couple of weeks ago with Nikita Lyons and talking about, all the ways in which statistically she's just not good enough or better than her and all of the above. And Nikita Lyons didn't take too kindly to that. So this is where this match happened. And as you can see, Kiana James was being very strategic in attacking Nikita Lyons' knees. Like throughout the entire match, she was targeting her knees with submission work, hitting and striking her knees, kicking her knees, and all of the above. But of course, Nikita Lyons was able to persevere throughout the match. There was even one point where she ran and tried to hit, I guess you would say, a modified Bronco Buster on Kiana James, but a lot of people didn't take too kindly to it because she did it and then flipped over, and I was just like, oh, was that a trick? Is that something new? Or was that a mistake or something? But it still looked like it got a part of the job done. So I don't know. But even throughout that, Kiana just kept attacking her knees over and over again. But Nikita powered out and actually hit a roundhouse kick to Kiana for the 1-2-3 pin. And she celebrated the win, but only was able to celebrate it for just so long before Kiana James took one of her I guess you could say a suitcase, a briefcase, or something that you would see a college professor have, that she brought out, during her entrance and attacked her from behind and hit her. So Kiana was actually standing tall, even though she had lost the match, and she was still insulting Nikita Lyons. So I guess this was not the last that we'll see of this rivalry. So Katrina, what did you think about this match? And how do you feel about this beef that Kiana has with Nikita? And is it valid or is it not valid? How do you feel?
I thought it was a good way to open up the show. I was actually impressed with Kiana because we kind of see already what NXT is kind of doing, what people we see they're going to push. And so I thought it was very smart on her end that, okay, this is the issue you had, like, this is the area you had issues with previously. How can I make this work in my favor? And so I appreciate it. I thought that was pretty good psychology as far as in the ring to go after the body part may be an issue. And so I thought it was smart. I obviously her beating her up afterwards was like very heelish. um,
Very
taking
much.
super heelish move. But I feel like because she did that, and I feel like even with Nikita, because I was a little, not gonna lie, when I watched it, I was a bit confused when she tried to do that move, and I was like, how did you miss that? Because it seemed like it was like right there. But outside of that, I feel like they can really do something, especially with the fact that Kiana was like being smart about it. But even after when she lost, she was so like, I'm not taking this loss, like, and just moved on. Like, I feel a way about this. So I feel like they can really do something with this, especially if you want to keep, you know, both women on TV, but in particular to Nikita, because we know we've seen her being pushed on TV, but not necessarily be in the main title picture. I feel like this is a smart thing to do. And so it was a good open to the show. I thought Kiana was very smart with what she was doing. And I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with the two of them after this.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely interested in it. And then on top of that, it was good to see kind of what Nikita Lyons has to offer, considering she does have a huge opportunity, which they did allude to at the very beginning of NXT, which was an interview between, well, not really an interview, but just kind of like a backstage segment between her and Zoe Stark. Who is the number one contender for the NXT Women's title. And basically, they've both been given an opportunity to participate in the new women's tag team title tournament that's happening on Raw. So those two are going to be participating in that tournament. We don't know. I guess maybe this coming week. So hopefully they'll be able to go far and sort of find their groove, even though we've never seen them operate as a tag team before. I'm still looking forward to seeing them and how they perform in that. And honestly, I just feel like it's a great opportunity for them because, of course, not a lot of people are familiar with the NXT product because, a lot of casual fans may not necessarily watch it, but they'll still have that exposure, and then I'm pretty sure they'll learn from any mistakes that they make because, of course, there's always room for growth. So, congratulations to Nikita and Zoe for that opportunity. To participate in that tournament. So Nikita won this match, but it doesn't seem to be over between her and Kiana. So that's what we've got going on there. So after that match, we had the highly anticipated, of course, the streets highly anticipated this, the highly anticipated rounds match between Trick Williams, who's of course Carmelo Hayes' best friend, versus Wes Lee. So they've been, of course, going back and forth over the past couple of weeks because Trick just thinks he's better than everybody, and he just likes to smack talk and all the above, and he thinks he's the second coming of Muhammad Ali. No. So so basically he's been bullying Wesley for the past couple of weeks, and now this is where their rivalry kind of came to a head. Now this was a rounds match, so this basically meant that this match went for at least 3 rounds, or was it 3 or 4?
I feel like it might have been 4 because I think there was one round that there wasn't any winner.
Yeah, okay. I just couldn't really remember, but it felt like it was 4. But then again, if it was just 3, then that's fine. So basically, each round had something different. It's like the first round started with them boxing, and in the second round, it was more so focused on the wrestling component of their arsenals. So it was definitely a different type of way of watching these two fight outside of a regular match. And I was wondering how exactly they were going to box because I'm just like, now, as far as I know, I've never really seen Trick Williams, box before. I know he was probably inspired. He's definitely inspired by boxers like Muhammad Ali and the like, but I've never seen him box. And then Wesley, he's a decorated wrestler. So I'm just like, how is this gonna work? But it actually wound up working. Like they actually were smacking each other around a bit and all of the above. But somehow in the midst of that, I believe Trick won the first round. Um, and then in the second round, like I mentioned, it was more wrestling based. So that was more so in Wesley's, wheelhouse because he is the most experienced out of the two. So he was in his bag. He was flying, he was kicking, even though in that picture, of course, you see it was a little bit different right there. But once Wesley got the upper hand, he got more of his wrestling, knowledge going on in the match or whatever. And then he won that round. So, you're kind of wondering with these two having like one of one, wondering where it's going to go. Then one of the rounds, of course, no one won. And then there, of course, you can expect some shenanigans from Carmelo Hayes, who just wants to help his homeboy win. And then he came out in a t-shirt with Wesley's face on it with tears on it. And I'm just like, he just loves to disrespect people using t-shirts all the time. It's hilarious.
I did peep that. I was like, oh my god, really? So for no
He's so
reason.
petty. He is such a petty man. But he does that to get into the head of his opponents. But in the end, Wesley wound up getting a big win. And he wound up winning the match, hitting the 1, 2, 3. And I was just so glad. And it looks like it says round 5 up there on the picture. So it was 5 rounds. There we go. So yeah, Wesley wound up winning the match, and I am so happy he did because I just got tired of him getting bullied. I got so sick of him being bullied, and he's essentially being bullied by 2 people because, where there's Carmelo, where there's Wesley, there's going to be Carmelo right behind him. So it's just kind of like, I just got tired of him being bullied, and I just wanted him to find himself a whole lot more as a single competitor. And with him getting this win over Trick, it was just like, yes, finally, you triumphed. Triumph. So, how did you feel about this match, Kat?
I thought it was good. I was actually really happy with Wes winning because, as we've been saying, there's been a lot of shenanigans happening with Wes and what they've been doing with him so far. And so I was glad that, I thought if Trick coming out with the rope, with the over the top rope and everything, I was like, dude, like it was like so over the top. They're like, fix his face, like, you're trying to grease your face up before the fight. I thought all of that was like an added to it. It was so extra for no reason, but it worked with the characters. And so I was like, this is actually really cool. Carmelo talking to him in the corner, like the man hype, the corner guy you have that's kind of getting your head back into the game, getting it back into the fight. So I thought those were all nice little elements that added to the whole situation. And while they did some boxing, I did like that it was a mix of that and in wrestling, which I believe when I was doing it, the live tweeting, somebody mentioned that NXT UK sometimes do that very similar style of like boxing with round style matches, and so I thought it was done really well. I guess for the first time, if it's not something we normally would see on NXT, and then even though with the crap that was going on with Trick and the shenanigans on the outside, West still was able to pull off that win, and so I was very happy that he got the win. It was very deserved win. And hopefully this is more of an upsweep for him because that keep messing with him, and Wes is just there living. And y'all keep messing with him, and it's so not right. So I'm just glad he won the match. But I thought it was an interesting concept, and I thought they did well. And I think that actually, like I said, the extra dramatics and the over the topness, I felt brought a little added essence to it that made it more entertaining.
Definitely. I feel like if it's one thing that Trick and Carmella are going to give you, they're going to give you an experience. They're going to give you a show. And it's just like when they came out there, like as the trainer and the boxer, it was just the most extra thing I'd ever seen in my life. I felt like I was watching Creed, but not Creed. Like it was just really funny. And then he took his robe off and everything. And I was just like, oh my God, you look kind of good there. Um, Craig, stop. But he was really good in his black and white outfit and everything. I was just like, okay. But respectfully, they're fine. So so basically Wesley came out with the win and it was just really, really great. So congratulations to Wesley. So after this match, Carmelo cut a promo talking about how after the match was over, about how him and Wes, well, not him and Wes, but him and Trick were supposed to have a celebratory victory lap type of party thing going on because they love to party. And he was just really upset that Trick lost or whatever. But then he had to basically bring the focus back to himself. So in the midst of that, he was talking and running down Nathan Frazier, who basically challenged him in his open challenge last week on NXT. And he basically just insulted him a little bit more, whatever. But just when it looked like it was going to be Nathan Frazier coming back out, and interrupted his promo, the camera switched and turned, and I was like, oh my God, look behind you. But it wasn't Nathan Frazier. It was Giovanni Vinci, who wanted to come out and challenge him last week, but he took too long to get to the ring, and so he wound up being on commentary. Don't move so slow. But either way, he came out here in this suit, and I was like, okay, suit, I see you. You have facial hair trying to get you. Yeah, I like it. So he came out and basically, gave his piece as to why he feels like he should be, the new North American champion and how he should be next in line to challenge Carmelo and stuff. But Carmelo hit him with a bar that I feel like we should just, put in our collective memories for the rest of our lives. Like he said, if you want beef, if you want beef, you can put it in a pot and cook it or something like that. And I was just like, Carmelo, were you a rapper in a past life? Like, are you like a poet? Like, what are you doing? Like, how do you put stuff like this together? Like, I have to quote this right because that was one of the coolest bars I had ever heard in my life. And I'm just like, I'm gonna find it. But it was just, he always just does it. Like, he does an amazing job when it comes to his promos because it's just like, man, he's just too much. So along with that, while I'm finding this quote, um, along with that, there was a little bit of a brawl that broke out between them, but then it wasn't really a brawl. It wasn't like exactly they were trading punches. It was almost like they were trading spots with each other. Like there were flips and stuff going on, switching each other back and forth, running the ropes and all of the above. Like it was amazing. It was almost like they sort of had each other scouted, but then before they could really come to blows, security and the referees came out and broke them up. And then, of course, the NXT universe was like, let them fight, let them fight. And I was like, you know what, let them fight, let them do it. But then, they, of course, they didn't. So, either way, it was, that was a cool segment. So, how do you feel about this segment? And do you feel like Giovanni Vinci has Carmelo Hayes' number?
I don't feel like, I mean, I feel like he's going to give him a match. I do feel like he might be a bit of an issue during it because Carmelo is a bit cocky.
Mm-hmm.
So is Giovanni Vinci. And so I feel like they're going to have like something special in the ring. I don't think he's going to take I'll be very surprised, honestly, if he takes the title. I'll be like, what? I might be a little sad. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought it was a good segment. I thought, to call him out, with that, and then kind of for them to trade. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little confused when they didn't hit, and I'm like, so what's happening? Like, y'all not gonna hit each other? But then I guess it was just to kind of like show what we're going to get, and so I accepted it as that. Like, this is what I guess we're going to get next week. But at first I was like, why not connected right now? Like this, y'all didn't have a match. Y'all didn't have to be like where you're a little bit messed up a little bit. So I thought it was a good segment. I feel like again, Carmelo might have a bit of an issue in regards to how the match will play out, but I don't think he's going to lose his belt necessarily. So
yeah, me neither. I don't think he's gonna lose either. But at the same time, I really feel like even with the way that spot went, Giovanni Vinci is gonna give him a run for his money. But shout out to Victor Taylor Perry, of course, the people's teacher and the founder of the wrestling club there in New York. Thanks to him on Twitter, I did at Wildflower Perry, please follow him. I did find the tweet. The quote, he said, Carmelo Hayes said, and I quote, "We can put it in the pot and let the beef cook. I will put you on a t-shirt and it won't be designer." Ciao. You can put it in the pot and let the beef cook. Like, oh my God. Whew. The eloquence.
it's a good line. It's a good line.
How you dropping bars and making me hungry at the same time? That's my problem now. But I am looking forward to that match, though. I am looking forward to that match. Oh, we got JD in the comments saying hello. Hey, thanks for watching. But yeah, we got to put it in the pot, man, and let the beef cook. I feel like something should be named that. Oh, we got someone else in the comments. Ghost in the HTML. Hey, how you doing? Carmelo with the smack URL energy. Yes, definitely. So moving on, we got to get off Carmelo, but he's amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. So it's going to be good. I'm hungry. Moving on, we have Ariana Grace versus Thea Hail. Thea Hail of Chase U, and of course Chase U, Andre Chase, and Bodie Hayward came out to support her in this match, and I believe this is probably the first time we've seen Thea Hail fight. I believe she may have fought on NXT Level Up, but this is the first time she's fought on NXT 2.0, and she was fighting against Ariana Grace because there was a backstage segment that they did have together where Ariana accused Thea Hail of giving her a black eye because they were outside in the quad playing with the frisbee or playing with the football, and then somehow another Thea Hail didn't catch it, and then it wound up blacking Ariana Grace's eye. And of course, since Ariana is a former beauty pageant queen, because she'll never let us forget it, um she got hit in the eye and she didn't like it. She was like, look, I'm beautiful, you can't do this to me. So they made a match, and this match was made official. So Ariana Grace was very aggressive in the beginning. Like, she was attacking Thea Hail like super hard, but then Thea was actually impressive in this match because we got to see more of her athletic background, of course, after this picture that you see on the screen. And after that one too, because Jesus, like, it's like all the pictures you're showing. But either way, Thea Hill did a really good job, and of course, we're gonna talk. Hopefully, we're gonna get into more of that, as the show goes on. But Thea Hill was very impressive in this match. Um, but sadly, Ariana Grace wound up winning the match with a big boot and a forward fireman's carry slam, and Ariana Grace wound up winning. Now, mind you, even though Thea did a really good job, it's like I don't necessarily think it's bad that she lost, considering she did just start. And because she is, still very much young and there's still so much that she has to learn. She did do a really good job in this match. But Ariana, I guess, was just not in the mood, and she was just throwing her weight around and everything. Like, Ariana Grace, is good at utilizing, her bigger body parts in order to win a match. Like, she doesn't mind kicking you and using her arms and legs to basically destroy you. So that's how she won the match. It was pretty good. But Thea Hale had a really great showing. How did you feel about this match, Kat, as the storm brews behind me?
I thought it was a good match. It was nice to kind of see Thea do her. Like, I thought there was moments where she really, like, the move where she kind of flipped her over. I think it was in one of the pictures. I thought that was actually really well done. It was like, it looked really smooth, and that's always something I like, especially when you see somebody for the first time, is how well they can go between moves where it looks like we don't know that they're setting up for this move. And so I thought it was really good. And while I'm not too surprised that Ariana did win it, because I feel like in a situation where it's like you put her in a match where she was like, "Oh, I want to sue," and the segment was she wanted to sue, and he was like, "Well, no, you get in the match because this is like my grounds," which is like so ridiculous. But I felt like in that regard, for her being put in a match she didn't really want to be in, she deserved the win. So I felt like it wasn't too surprising that she got the win, considering how she got thrown in the match in the first place. But I thought Thea really kind of showed off, and I thought that was really good. Like, maybe we'll see more of her. And so I'm interested to see like how much we'll get from her going forward. But it was a good. I thought it was a nice, good match in that where it wasn't on the card.
Yeah, definitely. It's really funny. I want to see more of Chase University and see if it's actually like on a university campus, because her talking about the the quad was just pretty funny to me, and just how she hit her with the football or whatever. But yeah, I was proud of Ariana Grace in this match. Like, I was very impressed with her athleticism, and of course, they both have a long ways to go in their careers. But of course, the further they go and the more that they learn, the better that they'll get. So that was a pretty solid match from those two. But we will see Chase U and Thea Hall a little bit later in the after show. So moving on, we had a big promo package showing for Braun Breaker and JD McDonough, who of course are going to be fighting for the NXT Championship at Heatwave next week. And of course, they both sort of sounded confident in their abilities to succeed and win or whatever. But something that I thought that I really love, I'm a complete nerd for, was just the fact that they showed their training montages, which is something that I absolutely live for in wrestling and just in boxing in general. I just love watching behind the scenes stuff like that and seeing how people go into matches and prepare for them. And I just respect that so much. And watching their segment and watching them run on the beach and lift weights and stuff like that, it reminded me so much of Bailey and Sasha's, preparation package for their Iron Woman match for NXT Takeover Respect years ago, and how you saw them, lifting weights and upping their cardio, as Bailey said, and using and lifting the sledgehammer and hitting it on the big tire and all of the above, and lifting chains. Like, that's the stuff I live for, because that makes me really feel like you are into this and you are really trying to win this, so you can, and also focus your mind so you can be prepared. I love stuff like that. I just love it. Like I just I just love stuff like that. I'm a nerd. But yeah. Kat, what is your prediction for the NXT Championship match next week? And how did you feel about the montage? Did you love
I
it?
WWE is like top tier when it comes to video packages. I feel like they're
Yes.
probably they're leagues ahead of everybody when it comes to like setting up that video package for the people. You're like, all right, like if you didn't know what was going on, you just popped in during that. You'll be like, all right, like you can kind of get a good idea of what's happening on their video packages. It's really good production, and so I thought the package was good. I do think, as I said before, I think Braun will have a little bit of an issue because of the way this guy's his psychology is. It's like you do this weird stuff and talking about all the type of things you can do. And so you might give Braun a bit of a problem, but I do not feel I'll generally be like, oh, okay, if Braun loses his belt, I will probably be very like surprised. I feel like that's like I feel like if you're gonna take it from him, it needs to be somebody that to me at least makes sense, like something physical, something where I'm like, all right, maybe he caught you slipping and you lost the
Yeah.
belt, something like that. I feel like because the way they have been building him so far, I don't see him losing the belt. But then again, whatever WWE decides to do, if they try to swerve one on us, and again, if it's a situation where because he has this mindset like I can break all these things, I can do all these things, maybe he can catch Braun slipping during the match and get away. Because all you need is a really, even if it's a three really quick pin. A pin's a pin, and so like I hate roll up pins personally. I hate those kind of pins. Sometimes that's all you need to, get a win and get a belt. And so it could very well be one of the situations where it's like he just catch him slipping and he takes the belt. But I don't see it happening. But if it happens, I won't be too surprised because he might be the one that kind of had to like have him slip a bit, if that makes sense. Oop, are you frozen? Oop, oop, you might be frozen, Steph. Oh, well, Steph will be back. I think she froze on screen, but don't worry, we can get right into the next matchup, which happened to be I believe, hold on, I believe it was Apollo Crews versus Roderick Strong. So the basic I thought this was actually a really, really, really solid matchup between the two guys. Really technical, which is something Roderick Strong is usually known for when it comes to, like, if you think when they were, even when they was part of the Bullet Club, Roderick was definitely one of the ones of the group that was more technical. And so I felt like during this, he really gave Apollo like a run for his money during all of this when it came to some of the stuff he was doing technically, which I thought was really good. Um, they fought, like they had really, really good chemistry between them, I thought. And while I don't know if this is going to be like something that could be like we'll go afterwards beforehand and there'll be another matchup, I thought for what we got and for the very short period of time, because it was only like a week, I believe, when they kind of set this matchup, that it could be really good. But Apollo did hit a choke slam, like a variant of a choke slam to get the win, which again, super really, like, this is probably one of my favorite matches of the night, honestly, with the two of them, because they were so, dominant, and because they were so like technical. I thought it was really good. But Apollo did hit the his choke slam. He did win with a pin. And so even after that, he kind of, Roderick was kind of with the Diamond Mine complaining that why they help him, something very reminiscent to what happened in the beginning before the matchup about him not kind of being there, and he was teaching them a lesson. And so I thought, again, there's a lot of discord between them and Roderick Strong, and that can go any way. But I can also really truly see this, becoming a thing where we might get another match. There might can be a little rivalry, because it seems like Apollo Crews is kind of working his way into Diamond Mine. Like, he seems to be telling them like, you don't need to deal with Roderick Strong. And so this can go so many ways. But I thought it was actually a really, really good matchup. Probably my favorite match of the night. I really enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll see what they do next week. I do not know where Stephanie is, so we're gonna just keep it rolling until she pops back in because I don't want to have us just you guys staring at me because that's weird. So the next segment happened to be Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo kind of sit down for what was called a final accord. And so I thought it was a really interesting kind of sit down personally. So this is supposed to be like the last talk before they have their street fight, and I believe that kind of like if you know Legado del Fantasma will be free from the D'Angelo family if he won, but Santos will have to leave NXT if he lost. And so this, I thought this, considering that it's one of those stipulations in a match where it's like, oh, your career can be done in NXT, or you can be gone from NXT, or you're leaving your core group, that maybe it could have did a little bit more with the segments. As far as the sit down being, this is supposed to be such a big stipulation. And I personally don't feel because I do like Santos Escobar, and I feel like he's definitely the leader of his group, and so I don't know how I would feel if he has to leave, you know, if he would not be part of the group anymore. So this can really honestly go any way. But I thought it was a really like good, decent segment for it leading up until next week's heat wave. So I'm really excited to see what we get and if it's one of those situations where Escobar will be leaving or would, up, it looks like she's back. Let me hop her back in. I just went through a whole oh
Hey
man.
guys.
Hey.
I am so sorry.
It is all good. I did go through the Roderick Strong match. And then the segment with Escobar Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo. So I guess you can quickly, tell me what were your thoughts with the Apollo Crews match in Roderick Strong first before we get into the segment with Santos and Tony.
This was like a barn burner for me. Cause I never, of course, seen these two fight before, and that's not to say, of course, that they've never fought, because of course, you never know with these two, because of course they've had a past. Um but at the same time, it's just like this match was really good to me because you got to see, a lot of their technical prowess, which is something that we don't really see a lot from Apollo, but we're used to seeing from Roderick.
Yeah.
So it was really good. I like this match. I just hate that they're fighting because Roderick is just being so cagey. I hate it. Like, I hate cagey Roderick. He's just being so mean and just not being welcoming to Apollo at all. And he's just being mad possessive over Diamond Mine because the Civil War is still going on.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying, but I love the match. I really loved it. I loved it a lot. Now, as far as Mr. D'Angelo and Mr. Escobar is concerned, Santos better win next week. I want Santos to win next week because dang it, I just don't like. I just want Legado del Fantasma to stand on their own. I don't want them to just be running behind, Tony D'Angelo, because
Yeah.
even though he was saying that to psych Santos out and said, you know what, your family are nothing but sheep because, they were basically following me the whole time while you were gone and
Yeah.
everything was fine. And I'm just like, nah, you're just saying that to get in his head because they legit helped him last week in the match. So I'm just like, oh no, they didn't help. Well, yeah, they did help him. Santos in the match. So I'm just kind of sitting here like, why are you lying? So I don't want Santos to leave NXT just yet and leave Legado del Fantasma. I want them to be free. But a lot of people online have the sentiment that they feel like Santos might be called up. I don't know. I don't want him to be called up without his crew if that's the case.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll fight and maybe he'll win and then they might just go up anyway. I don't know. But either way, I want Legado del Fantasma to be free. And I just want Tony D'Angelo to just, be by himself and just be angry and whatever. Like, forget him. Like, you started your family way too late and Santos was a boss before you. So sit down.
Yeah.
He is El Jefe. Leave him alone. Okay? Gosh. I'm excited about that, but I want Santos to free Legato. That's all I care about. Free Legato.
Yeah, I kind of was on that sentiment too. I just don't feel like if Escobar is gone, it's like, well, okay, see, okay, relax.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I just feel like I don't want, I feel like without Santos, it just won't be the same, without him leading. And so I want him to win this too. We'll see.
Yeah, me too. So, in the midst of that, moving on, we had a little bit of a backstage segment involving the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. They were giving praise to Yulisa Leon and Valentina Feroz. Before Songa told the two that he would take them on a trip next week to sort of find their center and their chi. Because they were kind of bummed about losing that elimination match for those tag titles. But at the same time, I loved how Kanan and Katana basically gave them their props and told them that they did a really good job, and if they and that the door is open anytime they want to challenge for it. And that seemed to really encourage the girls. So I was really happy to see that because of course you're always so used to seeing tag teams and just other people even in singles competition be catty towards each other.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case in this. And I thought that was really refreshing to see because I'm just like, yeah, like they really did do a good job. Like every time they fight, you just see a lot of their chemistry. So I'm just like, I need more of that. So I hope that at some point they will be future tag champions. And I can't wait to see what they have to offer. Then also backstage, Wendy Chu attacked Tiffany Stratton, and I thought that was great because Tiffany was back there. She was looking like she had just left like the mall or something or like a club or something. Like she just looked amazing in her pink outfit. Even though she's of course a spoiled brat or whatever, but real recognizes real when it comes to fashion. She looked cute. But she went in her locker room after a long day and she got attacked and put in the dark by Wendy Chu, who basically is just ready to make her life miserable. And I'm just like, yes, Wendy, stand up for yourself. Like, don't let her get you down. So I'm here for it. So moving on, but even throughout the show, we saw a whole lot of Lash Legend, which I did also kind of appreciate. She was backstage sort of antagonizing Idris and Nofe and then Malik Blade, because she kept talking about, how she had the advantage against Alba Fire, but then still wound up losing or whatever. But then she also said that she really didn't like Idris and Nofe for real like that, but then she was still talking to him when he walked up. And you could tell that after each commercial break, they reached like 3 or 4 levels of irritation with her, talking and talking and talking and talking. And so when they finally expressed their aggravation, here comes Pretty Deadly, of course, running up behind her, and gassing her up even more because that's what boys like they like love to do. And so after that, this sort of led to them having a tag team match and them challenging each other. So we wound up getting Pretty Deadly versus Malik Blade and Idris and Nofe. So this match was pretty decent. It was really good, for of course their tag team division is always, on point. Especially even in the men's division, there's always on point. So watching Idris and Malik sort of rise to the occasion with their melanated beauty and all the flying and kicking they were doing, I was just like, okay, come on, y'all, come on. Like I low-key wanted them to win. But then there were and as you can see, there was a lot of suplexes going on there, like in that picture. And can't you see that guy's hair? Like it's flowing in the air and it's just like whoosh. But but in the midst of that, the match was really good. But then, of course, we got a visit from the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen, who came out to sort of, distract Pretty Deadly, who they've been beefing with over the past couple of weeks. But them trying to distract Pretty Deadly didn't turn out, for the best in terms of their opponents, and they tried to bring out a chair, but then it wound up, hitting them instead. And then Lash Legend wound up attacking Fallon Henley, because I don't know exactly, but she attacked her regardless. And then Pretty Deadly wound up winning the match. So by pinfall. So yeah, their finisher is fire.
Yeah.
Like, it almost puts you in the mind of 3D and 1D, but except it's Pretty D. I don't know. They don't call it that, but I'm gonna call it Pretty D for now until I find out the actual name of it, because I wanted to know the name of it and they didn't say it on commentary. But for now, we're just gonna call it Pretty D. So they won the match with that, and it was just pretty. Like, it was just a lot of messiness outside of the ring, but the match was still pretty good. So, Kat, how did you feel about this match, and how do you feel about Lash Legend just attacking Fallon Henley out of nowhere? Because of course she always tends to start beefs with people for weird or no reasons. But go into how you felt about it.
I thought it was a good match. The segments with Lash Legend was funny because they definitely kept zooming in on the facial expressions. And so that was like the best part, when you can tell they were irritated before they got like really irritated. It was like every time they would zoom in on the face, they looked just so agitated. And I felt bad because I'm like, that is how I look when I'm agitated. So when I'm annoyed and agitated, and I'm like, you can see my face just a twitch. And so I thought that was great because I'm like, that was so relatable of like how extra she was being for no reason. And so to have that lead into the matchup, I thought it was good. I like Pretty. I think Pretty Deadly works so well together. And since they're so flamboyant and everything, it's like I like having like different types of tag teams. Like, you're gonna have the tag teams that's super badass and mad dominant and technical, but you want some fun tag teams. I feel like Pretty Deadly is super fun, and so I like them. I feel like Lash Legend, because she technically did lose, like technically after that like matchups that they had, she's technically like lost their feud. And so I guess, well, who else can I bother now
Right.
to start? And so I guess she just moved on to the next person, because it seems like that's what she does. She has a couple of matches, and then she's on to the next person she can mess with and bother and harass. And so I like that they always got her also infused back. Like, she's always in somebody's feud. I feel like I like that she's on TV for that reason. But I did think it was funny that they was just so irritated with her, and she kept like talking, and it was like she was talking like a way like quick but monotone. Like, it wasn't even interesting the way she was saying it. And so I'm like, sis, like, you're not even trying to make them feel interested in anything you're saying. But I thought it was a really good I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a fun match. And now we already know that's Lash Legend's next like opponent. And so I feel like that's what they were setting that up for. And NXT 2.0 usually do really well of kind of having the next person kind of waiting. Like, okay, this is the next feud. There's no like, well, what happened to this person? Where did they go? Like, when they're gone for weeks and we don't know what's happening. NXT so far has been really good at making sure you keep people on camera, or letting us know that there's feuds going on or whatever's happening, even if it's like really small segments. And so I like it.
Yeah, I do. And it makes me wonder if, at some point this might set up like a triple threat tag team match for those NXT UK tag titles between Brooks and Josh, and then of course Pretty Deadly, and then Idris and Malik. I think that would be a really cool setup. Like, that would be awesome. Even if it doesn't happen in Heat Wave, I'm pretty sure that's something else they could do later.
Yeah.
But either way, I did think it was a pretty interesting segment. Then afterward, they went backstage and we saw Cameron Grimes, and he met Solo Sikoa backstage after Solo was told that he would be injured for at least a month, of course, after his street fight that he won over Von Wagner. But basically, after, they saw each other backstage, they sort of wished each other well, and Solo said that Cameron Grimes is well respected backstage and all of that. And they seemed to appreciate it and all of that, showing each other love. But then as Cameron Grimes was getting ready to leave, which is usually when everything starts popping off for him, when he getting ready to go out the door, the Schism and Joe Gacy fronted him and said, "Hey, where where are you going now? What's next for you?" And he was just like, "You look, I just want to go home." But then Joe Gacy asked him, "But who are you going home to?" And I was just like, "Now why you have to do him like that? Why you do him like that? Why you make it seem like he ain't got nobody at his house to go home to? For all you know, he could have a dog." For all you know, he could have a girlfriend that
Okay.
loves him. Or maybe he just wants to go home and just watch TV. You don't have to have somebody at your house. You are at your house, and that's enough. Okay. Shout out to all the people, who go home, and it's just them. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. Because sometimes you just don't want to be bothered no more after dealing with people after a long day at work or whatever it is that you do. Sometimes you just don't want to be bothered.
Yep.
And I'm just sick of Joe Gacy making it seem like Cameron Grimes doesn't have anything to live for anymore simply because he lost all these matches and these titles or whatever. Stop making it seem like his life is miserable just because he's not with you. See, that's that cult-ish, and I don't like that.
Yep.
Stop it. Like, stop it. If Cameron Grimes wants to go home and eat his food and watch TV and just be by himself and just chill and reflect for a moment or journal or sleep or whatever, let him do that in peace. Let him do that in peace. Leave Cameron Grimes alone. Okay? Oh my God. Just leave him alone. But moving on to end NXT 2.0. Like I said at the beginning of our time together, the NXT 2.0 was bookended this week with two women's matches. So the main event was Zoey Stark versus Cora Jade. And of course, this match came to be because Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, gave a bargain, saying that if Cora Jade were to beat up and take out Zoey Stark, that she would have a chance at the NXT Women's title at Heatwave and take Zoey's place. And of course, they showed more of Zoe and Nikita backstage, sort of wishing each other luck because, of course, of the tag team tournament that I mentioned that's happening on Raw with the women. So this match was pretty good. Cora Jade came out with new gear and she has new music. Thank God, because I've been talking about that for weeks. Like, when is she gonna get new music? She got new music and she got a new outfit and everything, new trunks and everything, looking like a dark mistress. Like, it's crazy. And then she also came out with a kendo stick or a pole. Like, I wasn't exactly sure what that weapon was. But it looked like it causes blunt force trauma, so there we go. So she brought it out with her, but either way, the match was really, really good. I enjoyed watching these two fight. Um, it was just, ooh, I loved it. I just love the match. Of course, as you can see in this picture, you have Zoe sort of throwing Cora Jade around. And of course, you had a lot of moments where Cora Jade was being cagey and trying to avoid getting hurt in any kind of way. But either way, then there was also another point where Zoe Stark flipped Jade on her head with a suplex, and then Jade even tried to hit sliced bread number 2, but then slipped right into a super kick that almost got a near fall for Zoe Stark. It was just a lot of great action and solid action all around. But then even when it looked like Cora had the upper hand and she was gonna try and cheat, and hit her with the blunt force thing, out comes Miss Roxanne, who took the blunt force weapon away from her and threatened to hit her with it. And Cora was mad, like, why are you out here? This ain't got nothing to do with you, whatever. But then Zoe Stark took advantage and hit her patented kick and wound up winning the match and was pointing at Mandy Rose, who was on commentary, as if to say, this is going to be you next week, and won the match. And then Cora Jade, of course, got chased out of the ring and out of the NXT arena by Roxanne. And then Zoe Stark was basically celebrating her win, but then Mandy tried to attack her, but then she caught her and had her scouted, and then she hit her other knee. She hit her finisher on her and then lifted up the title belt as if to say she is next in line to be NXT Women's Champion. And that's how NXT 2.0 ended. How did you feel about this match, and how do you feel about the rivalry going forward between Cora and Roxanne, and for Zoe and Mandy?
I thought it was a good end to it. They worked really well together, and while we knew, I mean, I didn't like they did it well where you kind of was like, ooh, is Cora gonna win this? But we want that matchup between Cora and Mandy, and excuse me, Mandy and Zoe.
Zoe.
And so that part in the back of my head was like, okay, she clearly can't lose this because we want that. I liked that, why Cora keep thinking she's past what she did to Raquel and everything. And I'm like, sis, Roxanne, you're like, sis, did you forget what happened? We didn't forget like what you did, and then you could just move on with your very life. Like, oh, I could do all this other stuff, and like you clearly still got like a debt to pay to what you did and how you backstabbed her and she had to lose her titles because of you. And so clearly there's some unfinished business, and Cora's moved around like she don't got to do any of that. And so
Right.
I clearly like she could keep trying to act like she gonna have all these shots to beat Mandy, but sis, you're still gonna deal with this, what you did to Roxanne. And so I like that she came out. I like that she chased Cora, and even like Zoe standing over Mandy. I was like, yes, I want her to win. I've been wanting Mandy to lose the vote for a minute, and so I want Zoe to win this. I felt like when she held it over her, it looked good. I was like, see, it looks nice on you already, and you don't even have it yet. So I'm hoping we gonna get her new champion at Heatwave. But I thought it was a good finish. I felt like Mandy, it's your time now. Like your other your girls already lost theirs. They're now making these other promos and bars. And I thought it was a good promo.
Yes.
I thought it was really good. But you about to be in the promo list too with your girls. Okay, it's Zoe's time, and so I'm hoping Zoe win and become new champion because I've been wanting Mandy to lose for some time now. And I thought she looked really good with the belt too. I was like, okay, I see it. I see the vision, and so nice end to NXT. Definitely to hype up their match for next week.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I do see Zoe Stark as a champion, and I do believe Toxic Attraction as a whole is undergoing some changes. Like, I don't know what this could possibly mean because there's been a lot of changes going on in the WWE, of course, since we're in the post Vince McMahon era. There's still so much and so much uncertainty that we don't know. Like, for all we know, like Gigi and JC could very well be, staying in NXT and maybe Mandy might be called up. Or for all we know, they might find another identity elsewhere. Like, there's just so much going on. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind if Mandy lost, but then I also wouldn't mind if she still kept it a little while longer. Just a little, just a little while longer, little bit, because I kind of want Roxanne to win with the title because I feel like she just got messed out of her opportunity. So I feel
Yeah.
like she deserves another chance. But in the midst of that, this was a really solid episode, a solid go home for NXT Heatwave, which is taking place next week on USA at the same time NXT regularly is on. But in the midst of that, I do have to go because I have other interview duties for the Hardy Wrestling podcast. So Kat is going to take it from here, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Well, hopefully, maybe next Thursday. I'm not sure because I might be traveling. I don't know, but we'll see. But in the midst of it, she's got it together. So bye, y'all.
I do. All right, let's go right into NXT UK. So I thought, as always, NXT UK had a really, really solid matchup, starting with um Charlie Dempsey versus Oliver Carter. And this was for the NXT UK Championship Tournament. This was a first round matchup. And so, Oliver has been dealing with a lot of stuff in NXT UK, as some of you guys, if you guys been watching, are aware. He got his NXT UK Tag Team title after chasing it for 2.5 years. And then his partner, Ashton Smith, got a knee injury, and unfortunately, he had to give up his titles. And so I was really excited for this matchup. I like that he's doing more things. And so, as you can see, this was a really, really good open through the matchup. I feel like, for the most part, Oliver kind of, even though, you know, it seemed it could have won anyway between him and Charlie. There was times when it looked like, oh, maybe Charlie had this one in the bag. Oliver kept being one step ahead, which I really, really, really appreciated. There was a moment where it seemed like he was like holding his knee. He seemed like it was an injured, and even he got himself out of a submission, which I thought was really, really, really cool. I thought it was really good. But ultimately, Oliver will win with a roll up pen um to get the first matchup. So this is a win away from maybe becoming NXT UK champion, because he did make it to the final, the semifinals. And I believe, his goal was to take on whoever won between Trent Seven and Wolfgang. And so this is a really, really, really solid open for NXT UK. I really enjoyed the matchup, and I was really happy for Oliver. Again, he kind of got a bit of a shitty end of the stick with everything that kind of went on with him finally getting the titles with his tag partner, only to have to, get rid of, well, rather give them back, rather. And so, good match. So, we get some women's action next, which I thought was really, really solid match. And so we talked about Thea Hail already at NXT, and she wound up making the NXT UK appearance against Eliza Alexander. And so this was also a really solid matchup between both of these ladies. I thought, last week, you know, Eliza kind of had that whole at the end of NXT UK. It was a big brawl with her, Blair Davenport, Isla Dawn, and Amal. And so to have her kind of, still be kind of riled up for that, I thought this was a really solid win. Thea Hail did come with her group, Chase University, which I thought, again, really, I love how they're so supportive of everything that goes on with them. And so there were moments when I felt like Eliza was really giving it to Thea. And again, Thea has definitely had, the NXT UK fans kind of rallying behind her. There was, I think she did like a really good drop kick at one point, and then a really super awesome elbow to the jaw, which I thought was really good. But Eliza showed off a whole bunch of viciousness, which I really appreciated. And she wind up, putting Thea in a camel clutch, and then did a running knee to the face to kind of win this matchup, which again, I thought it was really good. As you see, really, really solid work between both of them. But Eliza would become victorious. And I feel like with her victory and everything that happened last week on NXT UK, this is the setup that maybe she can challenge Michael Samtumara for the NXT UK Women's Championship. I feel like that can really happen. And so this is on the road to her maybe having a title shot. And so I thought it was a really good matchup. So the third matchup for NXT UK was Sam Gradwell versus Steelman. And so here we are with the female kind of back here in NXT UK. They kind of had some nonsense happen in NXT, and so here they are, NXT UK, kind of popping back up. And so after Charlie kind of lost to Oliver, it was like Steelman kind of came in. And also, I felt like Sam kind of outdid him in this match. It was a really, really good match for it, but I do believe that Sam was just the better opponent. There was Rohan Raja who got ejected outside of the match because he did yank on Sam from the turnbuckles, and so that was the issue with them doing the 3-on-1 attacks with the family. It's always something going on. And so unfortunately, well, not unfortunately for Sam, but he did pick up the victory in this matchup. As you see, there's a lot of super awesome moments going on with this match that I really did enjoy. A lot of awesome moments, a lot of awesome strikes. But ultimately, Sam would come out victorious. He did do he hit him in the face with his knee brace and then did a slam to win the matchup. Really, really good match. So Sam did defeat Thielman, and again, just kind of a rough night for the family. They really had a rough night for NXT UK, and then you go back to NXT with what was going on with that, the whole situation going on over there. It was a rough night for them, but definitely thought Sam got a really well-deserved win. I'm kind of interested to see now what happens next with Sam on NXT UK. But really solid matchup with that one. And so the last matchup for NXT UK was also another NXT UK Championship Tournament first round match between Wolfgang and Trent Seven. Now, as you know, Trent Seven can be a bit vicious at time, and I think Wolfgang's also a really good opponent. And so this was a really solid, like hard hitting match. And so I feel like mostly Trent was kind of trying to prove to us in an NXT UK universe that he really don't need Tyler Bate. You know, there was the beef between them after he kind of like turned on him and everything. And so I felt like in this matchup, he kept really trying to kind of outdo Wolfgang in this match. Even during the match, at times there was people in the audience kind of chanting to him like, you sold out, and he kind of like mocked them at one point to the UK, kind of healing it all up. It was really well done. And so there was, I think, one point that I really liked, where there was like a double axe and then like a scoop slam and a diving elbow, which was like really good. And I kind of almost thought that Wolfgang would have had it at that moment, because it seemed like it was a really long 2 count, one of those counts where you're like, all right, referee, speed it up, do more. But unfortunately, Wolfgang will kind of try to counter, Trent will counter Wolfgang's Swanton, and then did his Burning Hammer, and he did pick up the victory for this first round, and he will be going on to fight Oliver for the semifinals, which I believe will be next week. And so NXT UK, as always, is always like really good when it comes to their matchups. I think they're always really precise, and really like everything is always of importance when they have their matchups. And so it was really good. And I can't wait to see what happens on NXT UK next week. I'm actually really, really excited for NXT Heatwave. Again, we can have so many belts change and switch up. And hopefully Stephanie will be on with me to kind of do that as well for NXT Heatwave. But that is it for this week's recap for both NXT and NXT UK. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.talkpod.com for all the articles we have. We also have information about the contributors and links going out to Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Please also make sure to follow Women's Wrestling Talk social media, www.talkpod, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. Give it all likes. Follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are everywhere doing everything about women's wrestling. As always, definitely go check that out. You can also, when she's not here, check out Stephanie's podcast, Hardy Wrestling Podcast. You can follow her on social media, check out her interviews, her podcasts. She's really awesome at all of that. And for me, if you are going to be in Brooklyn next week, I will be ring announcing for the first time at Black Girl Magic. Women's Wrestling Talk is a big part of what is going on behind the scenes with Black Girl Magic. This is the second show. Last year was the first one. Super awesome card we have going on. And so I will be making my ring announcing debut there. So if you are in New York City, please support the women on that card. Please come. I would love to meet you. And catch me there August 19th. It is a Friday in Brooklyn. And I will try to get the links on my social media if you follow me. I am on most social media on InCat We Trust. If you're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, the E is a 3. So definitely go check me out there. And thank you guys, as always, for popping in with us on a Thursday to listen to us recap NXT UK and NXT. It's been a pleasure, as always. Until next week, guys. Bye.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.